Tanzi. Hello, my library friends. It's Miss Karen from the Airdrie Public Library, coming to you with a special story time on this day, National Day for Truth and Reconciliation. This day gives us a chance to recognize and commemorate the intergenerational harm that residential schools have caused to Indigenous families and communities, and to honor those who have been affected by this injustice. This can seem like a difficult subject to talk about with our kids, so I hope that this story time will help open up a conversation with your children. So before we begin, let's take a moment to acknowledge all the Indigenous peoples whose footprints have marked these lands from time immemorial. Together we can learn from and honor their ways of knowing. So these lands where we live are originally the traditional territories of the Blackfoot and the people of Treaty 7 and Métis 3 in southern Alberta. And some of the tribes that are included in this area are the Sexican and the Piikani and the Gaane and the Tsuut'ina and the Stoney Nakoda First Nations, including Chickasee, Bearspaw, and Wesley First Nation. In acknowledging the traditional territories of these people, of the Treaty 7 region, we are giving recognition to the fact that this is their traditional lands, and while a shared home now, our ancestors were in fact guests, not owners. So to start off our story time, I just wanted to start with a little book by Jules Thomas. And Jules Thomas is a Cree Cree fellow from Alberta, and he's written a bunch of books about the Cree language. And this one is called Tanzi, Hello. Tanzi, Pisum, hello, son. Tanzi, Nokum, hello, grandmother. Tanzi, Nitsan, hello, brother. Tanzi, Nichiwagan, hello, friend. Tanzi, Smogon, hello, policeman. Tanzi, mystic, hello, tree. Tanzi, Nipi, hello, water. Tanzi, Kisik, hello, sky. Tanzi, Nimama, hello, mother. Tanzi, Tipscalpism, hello, moon. And that was Tanzi, Hello by Jules Thomas. And this was published by Rouge Empire Inc. And you can find this and other books by checking out rougeempire.com. Well, the next story that I have for you tells the story of one man's journey through the residential school. And it's called Stolen Words. And it's written by Melanie Florence and illustrated by Gabrielle Grimard. She came home from school today, skipping and dancing, humming a song under her breath, clutching a Dreamcatcher she had made from odds and ends, bits of string, plastic beads, and brightly colored feathers. Her glossy braids danced against her shoulders, swaying with her, black as a raven's wing. Grandpa, she asked, clutching his hand, spinning under his arm before dropping it again. How do you say grandfather in Cree? He stopped breathing for a moment, a lifetime to a 7-year-old. He looked down at her sadly. I don't remember, he answered. I lost my words a long time ago. A frown clouded her face. How do you lose words, Grandpa, she asked. They took them away, he answered. She thought for a moment. Where did they take them? She asked. Where they took all of us, he said. Away from home, away from laughter and soft words, away from our mothers who cried for us. She reached for his gnarled hand. Who Who took you away, Grandpa? She asked quietly. Men and women dressed in black, talking to us with words we did not know, he answered. They reached home and sat on the stairs together. Where did they take you, Grandpa? She asked. Away to a school that was cold and lonely, where angry white faces raised their voices and their hands when we used our words, he answered. They took our words and locked them away and punished us until we forgot them, until we sounded like them. Harsh, sharp words, so different from the sound of our beautiful ones. She touched his weathered face, tried to wipe the sadness away with her soft hands. She looked down at her lap and handed him the Dreamcatcher that she had made for her room. You take this, Grandpa, she said. Maybe it will help you find your words again. He smiled at her, his granddaughter, and touched her innocent face, a face that had never known harsh words or raised hands. He smiled and kissed her head. The next day, she skipped out of school again, smiling widely at her grandfather. She stopped in front of him and took a deep breath. Tanzi Nimusam, she said. His eyes widened. She smiled brighter than the sun. I found your words, Grandpa, she said. She pulled a tattered, well-worn paperback out of her book bag. Introduction to Cree, it said. My teacher helped me find this for you at the library. He reached for it, his hands shaking, opened it, feeling the soft, much-loved pages under his fingers. Nosim, he whispered, granddaughter. The word felt familiar in his mouth. It felt like home, his mother. He turned the pages of the book carefully. Masanaigan, book. He turned another, word after word. Pikisquewin, his words, pages and pages of them. He looked at his granddaughter, his Nosim. Thank you, Tinky, he said. Will you read to me, she asked, taking his hand in hers and leading him home. Will you teach me your words? His heart danced as he nodded, holding the book against his chest. There we go. Now, Melanie Florence, who wrote this book, is a winning writer of Cree Scottish heritage, and she wrote Stolen Words in honor of her grandfather, whom she was close to as a child. Melanie never had the chance to speak to him about his Cree heritage, and this story is about the healing relationship she wishes she'd been able to have with him. So that was Stolen Words. And now we have a special guest to tell us a little bit about the Dreamcatcher and how it's made and how it's used. So let's welcome our special guest, Jaadaas.
Hello, my name is Jaadaas Jagwaa. I'm from the Tset'skitaani clan of Haida Gwaii, BC, Canada. Tset'skitaani means Northern Eagle, and I'm here to talk to you about Dreamcatchers. So this is a little Dreamcatcher I made based on the Cherokee traditions, and Dreamcatchers originated from the Ojibwe tribe over in eastern Canada. And as the story goes, in the beginning, everyone lived in spirit in the sky, and slowly the spirit animals began taking bodies on earth, and they each tried taking with them land to pull up. And it was finally the brown weasel that managed to swim down to earth and pull up Turtle Island. We have a little turtle here. So Turtle Island represents North and South America that when combined together has the appearance of a sea turtle. And once Turtle Island was dry and established by the spirit animals, people began to come down and take on their human forms. And over time, humans began having bad dreams because they were afflicted by negative energies and spirits, and the animals took pity on them for these bad dreams, and together they made the Dreamcatcher. So it was the people that walked on 4 legs that gave the leather to the Dreamcatcher in a circle that formed the circle of life. And the people that creep and crawl created the webbing of the Dreamcatcher to catch all of the bad dreams and leave a circle in the middle to allow all the good dreams to come through. Then this one I left a fairly big circle to allow big dreams to come through. And then Grandfather Earth gave the gift of all the precious stones in the Dreamcatcher to help catch negative energies and release positive energies. And the people of the sea gave their little seashells to put on the Dreamcatcher. And the people with feathers gave their feathers to allow the good dreams to trickle down to the dreamer so that they would have sweet dreams all night. And when making these, we also bless them with traditional smoke cleansing, because spirits communicate through smoke traditionally. So we would use a feather for smudging, a shell as our smoke cleansing dish, and if you can see in this one, there's a natural little bear shape. See if you can spot the bear. And then we would use white sage to cleanse the Dreamcatcher with positive intentions. And we would use just loose leaf tobacco to offer us a thank you to all the creatures that went into making the Dreamcatcher. And then we would use sweetgrass to protect the Dreamcatcher and the dreamer that it's intended for. And that is the story of the Dreamcatcher.
Thank you, Jaadaas, for sharing about Dreamcatchers with us. Next, I want to read a story by Julie Flett called We All Play. Kimatawana. We All Play. Kimatawana by Greystone Kids. Animals hide and hop. What kind of animals are these? That's right, Wapus, rabbit. That's how you say rabbit in Cree, Wapus. And sniff and sneak. Makisis. That's how you say fox in Cree, Makisis. And peek and peep. Oho, owl. Oho. We play too. Kimetawana mina. Animals swim and squirt. Do you see those whales? Wapamig, beluga whales. Wapamig. And bubble and bend. Akik. Seal. Akik. And chase and chirp. Niska. Niskasis. A goose and some goslings. Niska. Niskasis. We play too. Kime tawana mina. Animals slip and slide. What kind of animals are those? That's right, gnapik, snake, gnapik. And rumble and roll. Ooh, look at those big animals. Pasquawamustus. Pasquawamustus, bison, buffalo. And wiggle and wobble. Musquat. Bear, musquat. We play too. Kime tawana mina. Look at them playing in the snow. Animals rustle and roost. What kind of animals are these? Abaquitus, bat. And nudge and nuzzle. Pisuak, bobcat. And yip and yawn. Oh! Mahigan, wolf. And slowly, side by side, animals fall asleep. We do too. Nistanan mina. And that was We All Play by Julie Flett. Kime tawana. And if you go to the website for Greystone Press, Greystone Kids, you can actually hear recordings of all the Cree words in this book. It's a fantastic read. Well, we're going to finish off with a special story from Jaadaas again. Yes, Jaadaas is going to join us and tell us a story all about some animals.
So hello, my name is Jaadaas Jagwaa. My warrior name is Longfeather, and I'm from the Shitskitini clan of Haidagway, BC, Canada. Shitskitini means Northern Eagle Clan, and I'm here today to tell my story, Raven and the Eagle Egg. So, in the beginning, there existed supernatural beings. The supernatural beings were called Narnuks. A Narnuk could change into an animal, a human, or an invisible force. Raven was the oldest and most powerful of all the Narnuks. Raven was incredibly smart, greedy, and a well-known trickster. He was the same trickster who stole the sun and gave light to the world. Despite all of his wisdom, Raven was still a raven. He took what was shiny and pretty. He mostly cared about food and loved mischief. Over time, he had grown jealous and angry with the eagles. The eagles were pure and righteous beings that dwelled in the highest places. He was especially jealous of the eagle's relationship with the beautiful and shiny salmon woman. The eagles had an ancient bargain with Salmon Woman and her salmon people. The eagles guided the salmon people from the ocean to the river every spring and protected them. The way the salmon people could start new families and raise their salmon children safely in the rivers. In exchange, the eagles could hunt the salmon to balance both populations of eagles and salmon. Raven and his raven people fed on the salmon scraps left behind by the eagles, and Raven wanted fresh salmon and the beautiful salmon woman all to himself. The raven began creating a plan to get the eagle people out of his feathers and to keep Salmon Woman all to himself. So as spring emerged, the eagles traveled to their special island to start new families of eagles. They built their nests high upon the cliffs of the island to keep their eagle eggs safe. When it was time, they flew out to the sea to meet Salmon Woman and to keep their promise to the salmon people to guide them inland to the sacred rivers. While the eagles were away, Raven gathered his group of mischief makers and set out to the special island of the eagles. They climbed the high cliffs and stole the eagle eggs from their nests. Raven and the mischief makers took the eagle eggs to Raven Village nearby, where they had built a long house for the eagles, where each eagle would have their own cage and nest. There was a long table for the eagle children to share and learn how to be ravens. The eagle children also shared a muddy pond to bathe and an ash pit to coat their feathers in black soot so that they would appear like ravens. Raven taught the eaglets how to caw like ravens, how to hunch their backs over like ravens too, and Raven tricked the young eagles into thinking that they were bad ravens because they didn't have thin black beaks like the other ravens. Because of this, the eagle children had to hunt salmon for ravens, and if they did a good job, they'd be allowed to eat the leftovers. So the eagle people searched high and low for their eagle children, but could not recognize them after the raven had changed them. Raven's plan to eliminate the eagle race was working. He stole the eagle children and made them into ravens who would hunt for him like eagles. The ravens would never have to eat scraps again. Raven would soon finish taking everything that the eagles had, including the precious Salmon Woman. After some time had passed, it was once again spring. The eagles, still mourning their loss, returned to their special island, where they would try making new families again and build their nests high upon the cliffs. After the new nests were made and the eagle eggs laid, it was once again time for the eagles to keep their promise to the salmon people. The eagles prepared for their flight towards the ocean to meet Salmon Woman. But Raven tied up the eagle chief on top of a cliff so high that it reached the heavens. He took the eagle chief's robe and put it on so that he took on the appearance of the mighty eagle chief. He told the eagles that he found the missing eagle children in a cave nearby. He led the eagles into the cave and sealed the entrance closed with a giant rock, with the help of his mischief makers who hid behind the rock. The raven and the mischief makers once again stole the eagle eggs, brought them to Raven Village to join the other eagle children, where he would create another generation of ravens to serve him and his Raven Village. The raven put the eagle chief's robe back on to appear as the great eagle chief, and used his magic to disguise the mischief makers as eagles too. Together they flew out towards the ocean to meet the beautiful Salmon Woman and the salmon people. Raven and the mischief makers led the salmon people down a new path, which led straight to the river next to Raven Village. Raven used his eagle chief appearance to capture Salmon Woman and trap her in his magical fountain inside the house of Raven. She was trapped in a half-human, half-salmon form. She could not run or swim away from Raven. Her tears filled the fountain and caused streams of sadness to flow throughout Raven Village. With the eagles trapped in a cave and Salmon Woman trapped in his fountain, Raven finally had all the salmon to himself. The raven could feast like never before. The eagle children hunted salmon day and night to satisfy the greedy ravens. Before long, the ravens all doubled in size, and the salmon population was nearly gone. The eagle children only had a big pile of fish bones to feed themselves. And in an ancient forest nearby, Bear Mother, the great queen of the bear people, grew angry. There was no more salmon left to feed her bear cubs. and someone had blocked the entranceway to her favorite cave. And if you don't already know this, you never want to make a mother angry, let alone a queen, and especially not a bear. Bear Mother and her cubs pushed a giant rock away from the entrance of her cave. As soon as the sun shone through the entrance of the cave, the eagles quickly flew out to escape. Bear Mother was shocked to have found all the eagles trapped in her cave. Right away, she knew that Raven was behind the disappearance of the eagles and salmon. His trickery was written all over it, especially because food was involved. Bear Mother and her cubs set out to Raven Village, where she planned to confront Raven. When she arrived, all of the ravens were fast asleep. They were huge, at least double in size, and they were so heavy that the branches were collapsing under their weight. Some of them still had pieces of salmon hanging from their mouths, and she had no doubt at all that Raven was behind it. As she walked through Raven Village, she saw a giant pile of fish bones. There were some really strange-looking eagles picking through the bones. How strange, she thought as she moved towards the house of Raven. And Bear Mother entered the house of Raven, and her cubs stayed outside to wait for her. Raven had grown even larger than all of the other ravens and was fast asleep in his throne. Bear Mother heard a faint voice crying in the back of Raven's house. She tiptoed towards the crying voice so as not to awaken the raven. To her surprise, there was Salmon Woman in half human, half salmon form trapped inside a large fountain. "Salmon Woman, is that you?" whispered Bear Mother. Salmon Woman nodded her head yes. Salmon Woman put her arms around Bear Mother, and Bear Mother carried her on her back to the nearby river with the help of her cubs. Salmon Woman was now free to save her salmon people from the raven. Salmon Woman transformed back into her fish form and began to swim downstream. Before she knew it, a black eagle swooped down to catch her. She quickly resumed her half-human, half-fish form to confront the young eagle. "Eagle child, do you know who I am?" she asked sternly. He replied, "No, I do not, and why did you call me an eagle? I'm a raven." Salmon Woman quickly realized what tricks the raven had played on the eagle children. Unable to accept what Raven had done to the eagle children, Salmon Woman held the young eagle and wept. Salmon Woman's tears fell onto the eagle child and washed away the soot and mud from his feathers. She showed the young eagle his true reflection in the water on the river's edge. The young eagle child cried when he saw his true form. "I cannot be an eagle. It's wrong to be an eagle," he cried. Salmon Woman told the young eagle, "You are in fact an eagle. Raven tricked you and used you for his personal gain." She went on to say, "Being an eagle is a great honor, for the eagle is the noblest creature on earth. That is why the salmon people trust them with our journey inland every year." The young eagle felt a little better after talking to Salmon Woman. He, along with Bear Mother and Salmon Woman, went back to the Raven Village to gather the other eagles and guide them back to the special island of the eagles before the ravens woke up. They stopped at the river's edge where Salmon Woman cleaned the soot and mud off the eagle children and allowed them to see their true reflections in the water. There was much sadness, confusion, frustration, grief, and anger amongst the eagle children. They were not real ravens, and they did not know how to be eagles. Some of the eagle children ran back to the ravens. Some returned to the island of the eagles to meet their families and learn how to become eagles, and some did not survive the journey at all. To prevent Raven from ever tricking the eagles again, Salmon Woman gave the eagles the ability to see everything in front of them, and Bear Mother gave the eagles the ability to see everything behind them. The magical gifts from Salmon Woman and Bear Mother created eagle vision. Never again would Raven be able to trick an eagle. The end.
Thank you so much, Jaadaas, for sharing your special story about the residential school experience. Well, you'll notice that I'm wearing an orange shirt today, and I do that in honor of all the children who went to residential school. Orange Shirt Day was started by a woman named Phyllis Wedstad, and when she was 6 years old back in 1973, she went to residential school in British Columbia, to St. Joseph's Mission Residential School. And on her first day of school, she put on her favorite orange shirt that her grandmother gave to her. And when she got to school, they took her clothes away from her, including her special orange shirt, and they made her wear other clothes, and they wouldn't let her keep her orange shirt. And so I wear this shirt in memory of that, and in memory of all the children who were forced to go to residential schools. Something else that we can do on this special day of Truth and Reconciliation is to take a walk through Nose Creek Park, where the orange footprints create a trail. And as you walk, you can think about the little children who were taken from their homes and placed in residential schools through many generations. I hope you've learned a lot from this story time, and it's opened up some conversations with you and your children. It's time for us to say goodbye. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye, everyone. It's time to say goodbye.